All right, BMF title time. Tim, welcome.
Yes, yes, very, very exciting card. A couple ones I'm not too keen on or don't really get too much invested in, but there are a plethora of phenomenal fights that I'm very, very excited for. This could be uh, in contention for probably the best card this year. With 290, which we just had, which is absolutely insane. We could have the two best pay per view cards in the same month.
That card was insane, and that one delivered. So this one, we'll see if it delivers the same way. It looks like on paper, this thing should deliver. Like we got Alex Pereira making his first fight at middleweight or light heavyweight, and then we got the
Yep.
BMF title up top. We got T Ferg. We have Wonder Boy with a good fight against Michelle Pereira. But show off the T-shirt, man. Show off the
Oh,
T-shirt.
you gotta have the Poeton
Oh yeah,
representing. It's actually pretty. It's pretty nice. The Utah 291s. Pretty nice shirt, man.
it is sick. I like the graphic on it a lot. It's pretty
Yeah,
dope,
you gotta show support for the Teixeira MMA crew.
dude. I mean, did you see the clip of Alex giving him the motorcycle too? Man,
Yeah,
it's just like a
they're
brotherhood.
honestly, yeah, they're such good dudes. Um, it's great to see it. It's good to see it in a sport so violent that you could see people so nice, and especially outside in like their natural environment, being very kind and appreciative.
Yeah, I agree, man. Especially to share. He's got that dad energy. He's like, I feel like I'd feel so safe around him. I'd just be like
Yeah,
talking to him, man, and he'd be so nice.
it is nice being a fan of some of these guys when they do retire because you don't have the ups and downs. If they lose a fight, yeah, it sucks. But then the next day you might be a little bummed out. But then the day after that, you're back to normal. That's these guys, if they take a loss or they lose a belt or something like that, it's a life changing for them.
Yeah.
So once they get to that retired point where they don't have to put it all on the line anymore and they just enjoy their life, it makes it 10 times better. I feel as a fan from that aspect where they're just doing their own thing. Got to get all fired up, all stressed out. So
Let's hope
it's
that's
good, but
let's hope that's Tony
unfortunately, we're not
Ferguson.
going to. Yeah, so we're not going to have that experience this weekend with Alex fighting, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Dude, I legitimately think he could become a three division champ. I really do. Like, he could be a three division champ if he somehow went back down and got a rematch against Izzy. I think he beats him. And then somehow he gets this title, which, I mean, he's only pretty much one fight away. He could be a three division champ. The dude is fucking, built like he's shaped from stone. He's got those hands. We're going to talk about him later, though, dude. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure we both have a substantial amount of money for our little DraftKings on on him to
yeah,
win.
yeah, yeah. And according to DraftKings on this whole card, we should technically lose it all.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we're gonna probably be yeah, it's gonna be dog heavy. I know that already because I'm just looking at the card and I'm thinking, what favorites do I like here? Like, which ones do I feel confident in? I'm gonna pull up my
yeah,
DraftKings to make sure I have the up to date odds. But let's get to this bottom card here, this bottom fight. And as I'm pulling this up to make sure I got the odds right because sometimes these are wrong. All right, so we have Miranda Maverick here, 11-5, coming off of a loss to Jasmine Jazdovicius, and then a win over Shanna Young and Sabina Mazo, fighting Priscilla Cachoeira, who's coming off of a knockout over Ariane Lipsky, and a knockout over Ji Young Kim, and then a submission loss to Jillian Robertson. And according to DraftKings, Miranda Maverick is minus 280 and Cachoeira is plus 235.
All right, so I hammered um Cachoeira on this. I don't see the I don't see the where they're getting Maverick as the favorite here. First of all, she just fought. She just fought in the Canada card, and Jazz Davicius put it on her. Legit put it on her. To me, this seems a little too quick of a turnaround. She's won 2 of her last 5, right? She got a win over, like you said, Shannon Young and then Sabina Mazo,
Yep.
right? But other than that, lost to Jasmine, lost to Blanchfield, which, you can't hold that against anybody, and then Macy Barber. Um, the Macy Barber one, I want to say that could have gone to Miranda Maverick
It did, bro.
to be completely fair. But even still, um, I don't think I don't think she has what it takes at this level. Invicta, yeah, I think she'd be phenomenal in that organization, or that promotion, I should say. But her being favored this much doesn't sit right with me. Cachoeira is she's won 2 fight win streak, right? She's
Yep.
won 4 out of the last 5. Dropped one to Jillian Robertson by submission. I think Jillian's one of the best grapplers out there. I would love to see, um, just for reference here, Jillian Robertson and Aaron Blanchfield do like a submission underground or a grappling competition. I think that's the level Jillian Robertson is on. Um, but I don't. I mean, two knockout or a knockout and then decision in Cachoeira's last fight, sub loss, another KO. So 3 of her last 4 wins have been KOs or TKOs. You know, Mavericks got 1 sub win. I don't know. I just don't see this. The only thing I would give to Miranda Maverick is the training in Denver, Colorado. You know,
Yeah, I was thinking the
so
same thing.
that's the only thing I could think of that would sway me. I do not think, even still, she has um, enough experience to go against Cachoeira. I mean, I'm not saying Cachoeira's wins are against world beaters, but she's also finishing them.
Yep.
So that's why I'd have to leave with her. And plus the plus money on her, it's a no brainer to me. I feel like to start the card, that could set the tone for the whole night. If it hits, I'm gonna feel really confident. But even if it doesn't hit, it's not supposed to. But I still think it's gonna be very close. Um, it'll be a decision for Maverick if she does win. I don't think she's gonna finish her, but at the same time, I think Cachoeira can finish Maverick.
Yeah. For me, it's pretty clear because I think Cachoeira's only way to win is going to be by knockout. Like I think she's going to if she wins, it'll be knocking her out. I don't really think she wins a decision here because if it goes to decision, Maverick's probably just going to take her down a couple times, sit on her quite a bit, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. But Cachoeira, I think she could flatline her. I really do, and I think that plus 500 price tag on her by knockout is really really not bad. Like that's a pretty good line in my opinion for a woman's fighter who's had 3 out of her last 4 wins by knockout. And I do think it would have to come first or second round because third round, I don't know if at elevation she's going to have it in her tank to get it done. But first or second round, I feel like um, you could do, Cachoeira under 2.5 just to give yourself some protection for that club and sub sort of deal. But
Yeah.
I do think the plus 500 on her knockout, that would be what I'd bet if I had to bet this fight. It would be that knockout prop. I'll probably have a little bit on it by fight night.
Yeah. It's this should be a decent fight. I know
I agree.
everybody kind of poo poos on the women's fight, but I think this could be a really decent fight to start the card off.
I think it'll be back and forth, to be honest. Like, I think Maverick will get a takedown. I think Cachoeira gets up, and then I think Cachoeira clips her. Maverick tries for another takedown. Like, it'll just kind of be that sort of roller coaster, and it'll be fun. I think it's going to be fun as fuck because Maverick's the way better grappler, and Cachoeira is the way better, sorry, striker. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be, one way or the other. It's gonna be one way traffic on the ground or on the feet, which makes for a great fight.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for this next one too. I'm super excited for this. We've got Semmelsberger, which is the Jedi. So Matthew, the Jedi Semmelsberger versus Eros Medic, who fights out of Alaska. If anyone knows, people don't like Alaskan fighters. They think that they're bad or they're fraudulent or whatever. He lost to Jalen Turner in the UFC. He beat Alan Cruz, and then he beat Omar Morales by first round knockout. Semmelsberger, which it is worth noting for Medic, it's been over a year since we've seen him, and he's up a weight class. This will be at 170. He's previously
Yeah.
fought at 155. Semmelsberger, he lost that split decision to Jeremiah Wells, where he knocked him down 4 times, but then got controlled for 11 or 12 minutes. It was a crazy fight. He got controlled for 12 of 15, but knocked him down 3 times on the feet. He beat Jake Matthews by decision. He lost to Alex Morono by decision, which Alex Morono is one of my favorite fighters. Dude is a dog, even though he's got a
Yeah.
gut and is not athletically gifted. He beat AJ Fletcher, and he beat Martin Sano. And I'll start us off here. I think Semmelsberger is probably the side here, but I think he's sitting right about minus 200 right now. If I pull up my DraftKings, he's exactly minus 205. And that scares me because I think Medic is probably the faster guy on the feet, and he's the cleaner guy on the feet. I think Semmelsberger has the grappling upside and the power upside for sure. And I think both these guys honestly have pretty good upside in the UFC. I think both these guys, they're probably never going to be title contenders, but they can put together streaks and maybe make some close fights with top 15 guys. So I think 30 years of age, both of them. This is a good fight. Two dudes in their prime. One dude with more power. One dude with a little more speed in Eros Medic. I think I'm going to go with Semmelsberger because I think he's got the grappling upside, and that's big here. If he gets clipped, I think he can grapple. But I would not be surprised to see Medic in some sort of a 3-round technical fight and get the nod at the end. I'm probably just keeping away from this one from a betting perspective. I'll probably have Semmelsberger in a couple parlays, like crazy 7-leggers and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think it's going to be Semmelsberger with the hooks and the wild power shots, and it's going to be Medic with the flat down the middle, down the pipe sort of shots, and have a little bit more speed
Yeah.
on his movement and his strikes. But I'll take Semmelsberger just because I also think Semmelsberger's a dog, and Medic, we haven't really seen him get tested too hard. And Semmelsberger, we've seen him battle tested multiple times now against Morono, against even Fletcher tested him. And then we saw it last fight against Jeremiah Wells, and he's proven that he's got a heart. So I'll take Semmelsberger here.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I know Semmelsberger is a dog. Um, I know he does have the power. Is Euros at this level of competition? The loss to Jalen Turner, I get it. Jalen Turner, I think is great. But other than that, he KO'd Omar Morales. You know, Cruz he knocked out. Gonzalez. These guys, he's finishing, and he's finishing with kicks and knees and then punches. It's the complete package. I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one. And if he's moving up a weight class, he's not going to be easy to push around. These guys are the same height. The only thing that would give me pause is he's got a little bit less of a reach than Semmelsberger, but at the same time, I mean, he's got one loss to Jalen Turner, and he hasn't been in these dogfights. He hasn't taken the damage.
So if I would line this fight, yeah, I'd probably put it where they opened it at -140, plus 120 Medic. So the current odds, yeah, I mean, Medic is probably the side with that plus 175 on him. I don't think Semmelsberger has a ton of, like decision, like grinding on this. I think he's probably going to have to finish Medic. And if someone's going to win a decision, I bet you it's going to be Medic because he's probably going to be able to win those minutes on the feet. Because I do like his kicks a lot. He's got those leg kicks. I went back and watched the Turner fight actually, and it was not a good showing from Medic, but he does have a decent kick, arsenal, and so I think that would probably be my pick would be him by decision or Semmelsberger by knockout.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got up next? CJ Vergara versus Vinicius Salvador. So Salvador is coming off of a loss to Victor Altamirano, and then before that, a Contender Series win over Shannon Ross, which we just saw get flatlined in like 20 seconds? Was it less maybe? I don't remember, but it was like first punch he got flatlined. And then CJ Vergara is coming off a win over Daniel Lacerda, a loss to Tatsuro Taira, which is not something to be ashamed of. A win over Cledson Rodriguez, a loss to Ode Osborne, who again, Ode Osborne's pretty decent, and then a win
Yeah.
on the Contender Series over Bruno Correa. What do you got here?
I'm not taking any action on this. If I was to bet on this, I would go with CJ Vergara. I think that his loss to Tatsuro, um, that kid is just on a tear. You can't really take anything away from him. That's very steep competition. Um, the other loss, like you said, to Odie Osborne, I think Odie is a great fighter as well. When they give him some of these guys, like Bruno Correa, the Cledson Rodriguez, which was close, but the Daniel Lacerda, he's finishing. So he finished two out of his last three wins. Whereas Salvador, I mean, he's finishing guys as well, but I don't think the competition is even remotely close. He made his UFC debut and he lost. So I think we're just gonna have to go with experience here and go with Vergara, hands down.
I second that. I mean, I don't have any action on this. I'm not really interested in any action on this, but I do think Vergara is probably going to take this one just based on the fact I liked how he looked at the UFC level. Like you were talking, like when he came up to the UFC after Contender Series, he's looked half decent since then. Salvador, I didn't like how he looked in his first fight in the UFC, and he lost as soon as he took that jump up. And we saw Shannon Ross look awful. And Salvador, that was his Contender Series win, so he came off of a possible fraudulent win into the UFC, lost his UFC debut. I'm just not all that interested in betting either direction, but it would be Vergara for me if I had to make a
Yeah.
pick. All right, Jake Matthews versus Darius Flowers. This is an interesting fight. Darius Flowers coming off of that Contender Series win, which was actually an injury, and then he's had an LFA stint. Jake Matthews coming off of a loss to the previous mentioned Matthew Semmelsberger, a win over Fialho where he looked, beautiful. He looked like he was slipping and countering and landing
Yep.
perfect shots. He looked like an animal in there. A loss to Sean Brady, which is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Sean Brady's a top 15 guy. A win over Diego Sanchez, and then a win over Emil Weber Meek, who I have not seen in a hot second. So for me here, I think it's going to be Jake Matthews, and I think it's going to be Jake Matthews all day. He's only minus 245, which I expected a larger number when I first saw this fight was made, because Darius Flowers is coming in on short notice. He's actually from Iowa, so I might have to change my pitch now. Dude is fighting out of a town 40 minutes from me. I didn't even see that. Mason City, Iowa. I wrestled there all the time in high school. We had a tournament every year in Mason City. So Darius Flowers is probably going to knock him out, to be honest. I'd probably think he's going to clean his clock. No. I think Jake Matthews is just the UFC level guy, and Darius Flowers I don't think is UFC level compared to Jake Matthews. And also Jake Matthews, he's looked good in these last two fights, even though he lost to Semmelsberger. I think Semmelsberger, like I said, is a pretty decent fighter, and I think Jake Matthews is a pretty decent fighter. So I'll take Matthews here, minus 245. When I saw it, surprised me. Now that I saw he's from Mason City, he's an Iowa boy, I don't know. Might not be so surprising. Maybe we'll see Darius Flowers get a quick dub here, and I can buy a shirt and have a Mason City shirt.
Yeah,
Imagine how sweet that would be.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Flowers is gonna get it done. So the good news is you can save your money on that shirt. This is another case where he's knocking people out in the LFA, goes on the Contender Series, gets the TKO from the shoulder slam. I don't see this boding well for him. Jake Matthews, man, a loss to Sean Brady is nothing to shake a stick at, like you said before. You got the decision win over Semmelsberger. So my whole thing is, I'm not that high on Semmelsberger, as we previously discussed, but he does have the win and knocked out Andre Fialho, which was a beaut. That was a beaut. Beat up an old Diego Sanchez. It's okay. Whatever, right? I think I'm still going to have to go with Jake Matthews. Even though I don't like the decision win to Semmelsberger, I think he's going to be too much too soon. I think we have to go Jake Matthews. The Celtic kid? We got to go with Jake Matthews.
I agree. I think it's pretty clean too. I caught one of the fights on YouTube from Darius Flowers. Seems like a powerful guy. Seems pretty good. Seems, he's got some decent skills, but at the UFC level, I'm not really feeling it. And also short notice in Salt Lake, I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I think what you can do is you could take something like this and do the under 2.5 and parlay it with something else.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, honestly, because I think Flowers is gonna either catch him early, which is unlikely, or he's gonna gas pretty hard.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man, we're getting close to the meat and potatoes.
To the big ones, dude. I got some fun takes.
Close.
All right. We've got Roman Kopylov, who is who's that kid that looks like Ben Askren? What's his name? Chase.
Chase Hooper.
He's just Russian Chase Hooper. Like this dude is just Russian Chase Hooper. He beat, he has some decent wins. Like Soriano is not a bad win. DeShirico is not a bad win, and Ribeiro is coming off of a win over Joseph Holmes and a loss to Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Kopolov's most recent losses were Albert Duraev and Carl Roberson.
Yeah.
And the odds on this one have Kopolov minus 210 and Ribeiro plus 170. What do you got here?
I'm going with the Russian Kopylov. Reason being, this is almost like a cookie cutter lower card fight for me, where you have these guys coming up off Thunder, Future MMA Contender Series, and this kid Ribeiro, he's taking stuff too fast, and I don't understand why. He won the Contender Series about 9 months ago, right? And then he gets his UFC debut 6 months ago and gets stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
KO, TKO, however you want to put it. And then he fights a month ago against Joseph Holmes, who I don't think Holmes is good at all, to be honest with you. I respect him as a fighter, but I just don't think he has that UFC caliber. And he had a good performance. He had a couple. I think he stopped a couple guys, but that's not UFC people making a run caliber type of guys. Now, I'm not saying that either one of these guys are gonna make a run anytime soon. And obviously, nobody on the UFC roster is I don't know how to put it politely, but they're not bums, right? So, but they're not also the cream of the crop people at the top. So I do not think Ribeiro is going to have a chance in this. I'm gonna have to go with Kopylov, even though he's got the two losses against Duraev and Robertson. Um, he's got a knockout and then another knockout. So the one over Soriano to me was real nice. So when he's going in there and he's knocking guys out and not taking as much damage and not getting stopped himself, I feel really confident in his quicker turnaround.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think Kopolov is going to be the pretty clear pick for me because he's really kind of turned a corner in those last two fights. Like when we saw him losing to Duraev and then Roberson, he just was not looking all that great. Like he was just kind of flat-footed, couldn't get anything going, wasn't really
Yeah,
looking flashy, wasn't looking athletic. And then something changed when he fought Alessio De Chirico like mid-fight. Like he was fighting DeShirico, he was getting caught a little bit, getting pieced up a tiny bit, and then something flipped in Kopolov. I don't know what happened, and then he turned it on, knocked the absolute shit out of Alessio DeShirico, and then comes out here and beats Soriano, who was not too long ago. People were thinking this guy was about to be a top 10 guy at
yeah,
185. And for me, I've seen enough. I think that's a pretty, decent little turnaround. And honestly, he looked fantastic in both fights. Like I thought he looked top tier in that Soriano fight. And at the end of that DeShirico fight, his hands were fucking crisp. They were slapping. They were snapping punches off. I don't know what happened, but he came alive, and I think he's probably going to put some work in on Ribeiro
yeah.
here. And I
He
think
also, he
he's.
also I'm sorry, continue.
I was about to say I just think he's gonna knock him out.
Yeah, I think you have to understand too is being, you know, He's 32. So when he first fought, when he lost to Robertson, right, that was almost 4 years ago. So 28, and then he had a big layoff about 2 years, right, and then he lost to Duraev in the decision.
Yep.
For him to come back, then to fight the Chirico, you have that moment, or it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. I already lost my last two. I got to turn it on because if he lost that fight, chances are you'll never see him again.
Back
You
against
know,
the wall, yeah.
yeah, maybe he'll be in PFL or something like that, or go back to go fight in Eagle FC if that's still even around.
No, it was
Um,
money laundering.
so that's what he would be doing. So that's why you have that switch, and you're like, oh, okay, and then he puts the work in, and he's stopping guys now. I think he should win this pretty easily. This might be something that I would parlay with that previous fight and put this at under 2.5 as well.
I agree. I think Matthews and Kopolov are two guys that I think should get it done, and they're minus plus two or minus 200, which isn't even a bad price tag for guys. Like I could see both these guys as minus 300, minus 400 in these fights, but they're not. So
Yeah.
all right, we're here. We're at the meat and potatoes now. We've got Derrick the Black Beast Lewis, who's plus 190, and it just continues to widen. I think last week this was Derrick Lewis plus 110. Now he's plus 190 versus Marcus Rogerio de Lima, who is minus 225 here. He's coming off of a surprisingly close win against Waldo Cortez Acosta, a win over Andre Arlovsky, a loss to Ivanov, a win over Ben Rothwell, and then a win over Maurice Green. Derrick Lewis coming off of a loss to, and you guys are going to hear the bias in my voice when I talk about this, Sergey Spivak, a probable future title contender. Sergey Pavlovich, the guy who's next in line. Tai Tuivasa, the guy who was in an interim title fight in his last fight against Cyril Gane. Chris Dawkins, he beat, so we don't need to worry there. And then Cyril Gane, the interim champion, and the guy who just fought John Jones. These guys are championship level fighters, and Derrick Lewis losing to them, I get it. He's losing to these top level guys, but is Marco Rogerio de Lima a top level guy? He just about lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta. It was a close decision. Andre Arlovsky he beat. Andre Arlovsky is like 59 years old. He lost to Ivanov, who we just saw lose to, what's his name? The guy who forearm choked. Oh, who's that? Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Got forearm choked. Someone just put their forearm on his neck and he tapped out. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you bet minus 200 on a guy who got forearm choked in the UFC? And I get the other thing people are saying is Derrick Lewis is 38 years old. What is the age of this other guy? 38 years old. They're both old guys. Neither one of them is going to be fighting for the title anytime soon, or for the rest of their career for that matter. I'm taking Derrick Lewis, and I'm taking Derrick Lewis by knockout at plus 350. Wait, is it plus 350 or is it plus 250? Let me go look what I got it at. I think it might have been plus 250.
Yeah.
All right.
If it's plus 350, I'm gonna hammer more of that because
Yeah,
I
no,
thought I got plus 240.
plus 240. I mean, that's his only win condition, I think, here. And I think he probably gets it done. This just feels like a classic Derrick Lewis spot where the other guy has more, grappling upside, more cardio upside, more leg kick upside, and Derrick Lewis just fucks the dude up, just knocks his head off his shoulders, and that's that. So I'm in on Derrick Lewis, and I think he's the clear side here. A lot of people disagree all over Twitter, all over the UFC betting, but I like Derrick Lewis here, even though he's lost, 4 out of his last 5, even though they're all to possible title contenders.
Um, yeah, my if you look at the age, first of all, heavyweight, you can go a little bit longer in your career. For example, Andrei Arlovsky. So Lewis is a little bit taller, right? 2 inches taller. He's got a 4 inch reach. He's got concrete hands. Rodrigo de Lima, everybody I notice has been saying he's been working on his cardio and his grappling. He can submit Derrick Lewis. Um, Derrick Lewis just gets up if he's on the ground. He has the ability to just get up. Um, and this guy, Delima, submitted Andrei Arlovsky. Like you said, Andrei Arlovsky's not the same guy. He's been fighting in the UFC for I can't even tell you how long. Has it been more than 20 years, if not 20 years, more than half of his life.
It's gotta be.
Um, and then like you said, you take first of all, Spivak is uh come a long way. He's come a long way since he fought Tom Aspinall, right?
Yep.
He's really put it together, and he looks great. Pavlovich, Russian hammer, no doubt about it. That's why you had Aspinall say, "Oh, I want the winner of Spivak and Cyril Gahn, and then the winner of that, will fight me for the number one contender spot." He didn't call out Pavlovich because he's a absolute hammer. Then you have Tui. Tui Tui was in deep shit. Tui was in real deep shit on that in that fight, and then heavyweights do what they do, and Lewis got clipped. But before that, they gave Derrick Lewis a drop down in competition, a guy by the name of Chris Dawkins, and he absolutely got starched. This is where I feel they are giving him Delima. He's got 2 wins. His last 2 fights are 2 wins. So this could straighten out Derrick Lewis. This is my patented get him on the right track fight. He's a draw. People come to see him, and I think Derrick Lewis is going to be pissed. He's on the prelims. He's not even the featured prelim. So this is a huge spot for Derrick, and I'm hammering all day Lewis by KO. It does come with some pause. This is heavyweight. These guys cut to 265, so one punch can change the whole fight. But without a doubt, I think this is a get right fight for Derrick Lewis.
I agree. I think looking back on it, if he turns to plus 200 by fight time, I'm gonna have to add some more of just his money line because, I mean, looking back, I think that's gonna be a laughable money line. Like I don't see how he does not land just a bomb in this fight because he was Rogerio De Lima was getting pieced up a little bit by Cortez Acosta. Like Cortez Acosta was landing some good shots. Like De Lima won the fight, but he definitely did not pull away. It was more so the leg kicks from him. He has these powerful, powerful leg kicks. And that's where I feel like Derrick Lewis could run into some issues is with the leg kicks because Derrick Lewis just kind of like stands up really heavy on his front leg. He could run into issues there, but outside of that, I mean, I think he's going to touch De Lima and De Lima's going to fall over because Derrick Lewis just has the death touch. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. I could see Lewis backing up against the cage and luring Delima in and then shutting the lights off. I really can.
I agree. 100%. All right. We have Trevin, the Problem Giles, coming off of a win over Preston Parsons, split decision, a win over Louis Kolske, a loss to Michael Morales, a loss to Dricus Duplessis, and then a win over Roman Dolidze. Pretty good win there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hiding in Trevin Giles' resume here versus Gabriel Bonfim, who beat Munir Lazez in his UFC debut, beat Trey Waters in his Contender Series fight, which Trey Waters, surprisingly good, just came into the UFC and got a dub himself. I think he might actually have 2 dubs. Let's go look at this real quick. I want to see. I want to see exactly. Oops, did not mean to do that. Gabriel Bonfim. We want to go see how many fights has Trey Waters had in the UFC. Yeah, so he lost to Gabriel Bonfim, and then went back to LFA, won a fight, and then just beat Josh Kinlan, which Josh Kinlan was undefeated and was supposed to be like this mega prospect, and Trey
Yeah.
Waters beat him. So I mean, good win for Bonfim here. I think it's pretty cut and dry. I think Gabriel is the better Bonfim brother. We just saw the other one lose to Benoit Saint Denis, which we were actually on some bets on there. We had
Yeah.
Saint Denis there, but I'm on Bonfim here. I think he's probably the clear side, and I think he's probably going to look like the clear side after the fact. I think this guy's upside is like top tier. I think this guy could potentially be like a Michael Morales type where he just runs through 4 or 5 fights and we're looking at what the fuck do we do with this guy? Does this guy get a top 10
Yeah.
opponent now? And I think that's where Bonfim is headed. So I think he's going to steamroll Giles, and I think he's going to do it in a pretty impressive fashion. So Bonfim for me.
Yeah, I think I'm all over Bonfim too. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from his brother either. Even though I do agree with you that I believe Gabriel is the better fighter. So his last 5 fights, uh, all finishes, and that's just going off his last 5. 4 subs and TKO, KO, TKO. I think he's gonna get the finish again. Preston Parsons, that was a nice win for Giles, but I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got the juice in him. So I'm heavy on the finish from Bonfim.
Yeah, I think Bonfim could be one. You know, if you want to do one of those juiced up favorite parlays, I would put Bonfim alongside Jake Matthews and Roman Kopylov. That would kind of be my juice parlay where it's guys who are, you know, supposed to win and I do believe will win, because there's a lot on this card that are supposed to win that I don't think will win. But those 3 guys, I think are probably the safest favorites of the card.
I think you could put this one as well in the under 2.5 club. I mean, there's a lot of fights where there should be finishes.
Yeah,
So you can pick. You could do this one with the Derrick Lewis under 2.5. You could put those together, or you could put this with the Kopylov, right? Or you could put it with the Matthews, or even the Vergara fight if you want. You know, you don't have to go crazy, but you could put this with under 2.5 um, parlay. And even if you want to do a same fight parlay, I would take Bomb Theme, and maybe go under 1.5, and see what those odds are.
I'm looking at what it would be to bet Kopylov inside the distance, Jake Matthews inside the distance, and Bonfim inside the distance. What that parlay would pay. me get this pulled up. Yeah, so that parlay would be plus 500 if you had all those guys inside the distance. So Bonfim by finish, Kopilov by finish, and then Matthews by finish, plus 500 on that.
This right here, this is a springboard for him to get on a main card
I agree.
without a doubt. This is why he's here. This is why he is here for the finish above Derrick Lewis. No doubt about it.
For sure.
This is to show this kid off and say, look who we got in the 170s.
Yep. Another great prospect, 14-0. He's got a ground game. I mean, dude's the full package in my opinion. He looks good on the feet. He's got it going on.
Oh yeah.
All right. This is the start of what I don't know what else other to call, but the dog run, because I mean this might be the main card where I see most of the dogs winning. There's only one favorite I like on this entire main card, which you guys you'll figure out if you listen. But here we got Michael Chiesa coming off of a loss to Sean Brady, in which he beat the shit out of Sean Brady in the third round. Like he was coming up in that third round. He was the fresher guy, but Sean Brady had those first two in the bag. And it is worth noting, this was a year and 7 months ago. So a
Mm-hmm.
year and a half for Chiesa off. Before that, he lost to Vicente Luque by Darce choke. It was pretty quick. And then he beat Neil Magny, beat Rafael Dos Anjos, and beat Diego Sanchez. Kevin Holland, on the other hand, coming off of a win over Santiago Ponzinibbio, where he got a punch from God. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how it happened, but, Holland wasn't doing much and then landed just this godly blow that won him the fight. Before that, he got absolutely shell shocked by Wonder Boy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
a world class beating by Wonder Boy there. He got beat by Hamzat, which, I mean, what can you do there? He beat Tim Means, and then he beat Alex Oliveira. So, Tim, who you got here?
Um, I'm all over Michael Chiesa by sub here. So let's see, where do I start? Let's start with um, Kevin Holland. Um, he's got the win over Cowboy Oliveira. He's got the win over the Dirty Bird Tim Means. Competition took a drastic change, and he got Chimaev completely ragdolled. Uh, and then I got hit with the Darce. Then he got another drastic change in Wonder Boy. And Wonder Boy absolutely picked him apart and pieced him up. And then the Ponzinibbio, it's a fluke. He's got some nice pop. Uh, he's got that long, lanky arms. He's got that snap. He's very dangerous standing up, and I think that's going to be his only way here to win. But with Chiesa, Sean Brady got it, and that was a year ago, over a year, almost 2 years ago, right? Year and 7 months.
Yep.
And then the Vicente Luque loss. To me, that fight, I feel that Chiesa made a mental mistake and put himself in a bad position, and got choked. Um, that altered his path by then drawing Sean Brady, and then altered Luque's path. Um, the better grappler here and jiu-jitsu player is by far Chiesa. Um, I think he's going to have to get Kevin Holland down and keep him down. I don't think he wants to um, stands with him, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know which Kevin Holland is gonna show up. Kevin Holland, who uh, puts it all together, or Kevin Holland, who underestimates his opponent and gets completely lit up. Kevin Holland's he's taken, I can't tell you, he's taken what, 3 fights this year already?
Yep.
This is gonna be his 4th fight this year?
Yeah. No, he's already had three for sure.
Um, yeah, and he's already retired this year. He's back. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I think Chiesa is gonna make the run. He's gonna try. He's 35 years old. Um, he took a good amount of time off to kind of reset. I think he's gonna feel him out the first round. I think he could lose the first round, but I think the path for victory is to take Holland down and then submit him. Now, I understand Kevin Holland is a Travis Lutter black belt, which is fantastic, but there is levels to this. And Michael Chiesa is phenomenal. So I think Chiesa by sub gets it done.
Yep. I mean I 110% agree. I think a couple things. Chiesa, first off, he's already fought a lanky welterweight with good grappling in Neil Magny. Handled it well. Magny's got the length. Holland has, similar length at 170, and he handled Magny well. And he also beat Rafael Dos Anjos. That is not a win to bat an eye at. Chiesa's been that guy. He's been that heavy pressure grappler who is going to get you down, tire you out, make you pissed off that you're getting stuck on your back. And we've seen Holland in that position, 50 times in the UFC. He fought, I think, when he was at 185, there were like 4 fights in a row where he just got out grappled. It was bad. It happened from Marvin Vittori, like names like that, where he just got laid on for 5 rounds. And I think Chiesa's got the ability to do that. And I think Chiesa can win 2 of the 3 rounds and get a decision, or I think Chiesa can submit him, like you were talking. So I'm pretty heavy on Chiesa. He's in a couple of my parlays this week. I'm pretty solid on him. I didn't get any money line because I saw him at like plus 150 2 weeks ago, and I was gonna bet it. Never ended up betting it, and now he's like plus 120 or something like that. So I'm not betting that plus 120 because I wish it was that plus 150, but he is in those parlays, and I feel like these should probably be flipped just based on, we haven't seen Holland's grappling tested at 170. I don't know what it's going to look like for Holland at 170 with the grappling chops. Maybe he's a little bit better, maybe he's a little bit worse, maybe he's a little weaker. We don't know. So I think we'll get it tested here. But Chiesa, like you said when you said there's levels to this shit, I think Chiesa is an absolutely outstanding MMA grappler. I think he's one of the kind of underrated UFC grappler guys, and I don't think he's going to do much with the rest of his career because he's doing a lot of coaching. He's kind of just around all over, and I don't love that. Watching him as a bettor. But I do think he's going to be able to get it done here. I think Kevin Holland really doesn't care about his career either. That's the other thing is Kevin Holland is always talking about taking fights. He doesn't want to move up the ranking because he just wants to keep winning and taking more fights and taking more fights. And I think that's going to bite him in the ass because I think Chiesa's a dog, and I think Holland is here for a paycheck sort of a deal.
Yeah, and you also remember, in this case, when you're going down, right? Obviously, he's had fights at 170 now, but when you're going down, the jiu-jitsu improves tremendously.
Yep.
Um, and when you're 6'3" and lanky, you're leaving a lot of arms and legs and neck out there to be snatched up. And like we saw, even with just the Vincente Luque fight, where Chiesa made a mistake and it cost him that fight, and he got put in the DARS. So I think it's going to be a real problem if this goes to the ground for Kevin Holland.
I agree. 110%. Could not agree more. All right.
Oh boy!
Fight of the night here. So we've
All right.
got Bobby. I think he goes just by King now. I think he actually changed his name to King Green. But we've got Bobby Green, which if I pull up DraftKings right now, he's minus 380. And he's coming off of that headbutt over Jared Gordon, a loss to Drew Dober, and a loss to Islam Makhachev, and then a win over Nasrat Haqparast, and a win over Al Iquinta. Tony Ferguson, El Kakui, on the other hand, he's your plus 310 underdog. He's coming off of a loss to Nate Diaz, a loss to Michael Chandler, a loss to Beneil Dariush, a loss to Charles Oliveira, a loss to Justin Gaethje. And for me, guys, this is exactly the same situation as the Derrick Lewis fight. Bobby Green cannot win when he takes a step up in competition, and this is a massive step down for Tony Ferguson. As much CTE as Tony Ferguson has, and we can joke about it, but it genuinely makes me sad to watch his interviews nowadays. I mean, he's saying shit. He's saying shit like, you know, he claimed he was gonna kill a bear with his son or something. I don't know. He's claiming a whole bunch of shit. It's sad to watch, but the guy still knows how to fight. Like we can watch that Nate Diaz fight, and he looked a little bit washed in that Nate Diaz fight, but before that, 1 year ago, he beat the brakes off of Michael Chandler in the first round of their fight. He was walking him down. He knocked Michael Chandler down. He beat the fuck out of Michael Chandler and then got kicked right in the face. Before that, Beneil Dariush completely outgrappled. Cannot blame him there. It's Beneil Dariush. Before that, Charles Oliveira completely outgrappled, completely outmatched on the ground. But we saw him take that armbar and basically get his arm bent in half and just, somehow did not tap. Before that, it was Justin Gaethje. And in that Justin Gaethje fight, he was a absolute fucking animal for those first few rounds. And then it just, damage caught up with him and he couldn't take it anymore. He knocked Justin Gaethje down at the end of the was it the first or the second? I don't remember.
I think it was the second. Yeah.
I think it was the second. Yeah, he knocks him down. 10 more seconds in the round, might have finished him. But Tony Ferguson, years later, just coming off of a loss against Nate Diaz, he got submitted. It looked like they were going through the motions that entire fight. It looked like they were kind of sparring almost. He took that fight on short notice against Tony Ferguson or against Nate Diaz. And here against Bobby Green, a guy who does not win when he takes a step up in competition. That's going to be the biggest thing here, guys. He does not win when he takes a step up in competition. He does not win. And for me, Bobby Green, he was getting pieced up by Jared Gordon in that last fight. Tony Ferguson lands a punch on you like Jared Gordon was landing on you. He's touching your chin. I think Tony Ferguson has Drew Dober-like power, and Drew Dober knocked Bobby Green clean out. And I get Tony Ferguson is 39 years old. Bobby Green's not a spring chicken either. He's 37 years old. He's 36 years and 10 months, so almost 37. I'm taking Tony Ferguson at plus 310, and I'm fucking feeling confident in that. Tony has the wrestling upside. Tony has the power upside here. Tony does not have the speed upside, and he does not have the slickness upside. But Tony has two upsides as a plus 310 underdog, as a guy who's only lost to the cream of the crop, when Bobby Green cannot even get close to beating someone at the top. He could not get close to fighting that Islam Makhachev and making it look, decent. He cannot beat that Drew Dober. He was fighting well in that fight, but he got knocked out. And I think something similar is going to happen against Tony. I think Bobby's going to probably land that jab, stiff, sort of a deal, move his feet, move his head. And then it's just going to take one from Tony. I really believe that. It's just going to take one from Tony. He's going to knock him down, and I think he's going to finish him. And I think, Tony Ferguson's not going to retire because it's Tony Ferguson, but this should be the moment where he retires. He should take his Robbie Lawler moment and get the fuck out because the dude has CTE in his brain, and it's noticeable when he talks. He says some crazy shit. He got the cop called on him, but we all still love Tony. Like, we're all still Tony fans. We all love Tony Ferguson because he's just a fucking OG. And I think he gets it done here. And I don't ever want to see him fight again, but I have a feeling we're going to have to watch it. And it's going to be sad because if he wins here, they're going to give him another killer, another up-and-comer. And they're probably going to put it on Tony. But I think this is his chance to have a good retirement fight. I think this is his chance to get a dub and then ride off into the sunset because I don't think Bobby Green is that good. And also, the one thing I forgot to mention is Bobby Green does not win decisions often. Like, he has a fight style that judges do not like. And I don't know if it's because he showboats or if he just kind of looks like he doesn't care or whatever it is. Judges do not like how Bobby Green fights. If Tony Ferguson pressures Bobby Green, cuts the cage off, lands a few good shots, it could be a close fight, and Tony's going to get the nod because the judges really, really dislike Bobby Green's fighting style. That's all I've got to say here, but I'm on that money line, and I'm going to be cheering for Tony because I want him to get one. I don't want him to go out on 6 losses in a row.
All right, so this might sound crazy, but I'm all over Tony Ferguson by finish. He's lost to hammers. He lost to hammers, like you said. Diaz. All right, that was a funky fight, last minute replacement. That felt to me more almost like a sparring match between those two guys, to be honest with you. So I didn't take much away. The Michael Chandler fight was interesting because Tony was winning that fight. He won the first round and looked great. And then he got caught with that kick. But that kick would have knocked, Derrick Lewis out, for Christ's sake. That wouldn't have taken anyone out. Beneil Dariush, the guy's an animal, and you can't take anything away from that. Even Charles Oliveira obviously won the strap. Justin Gaethje fought for the title. Those are people at the tip top of the food chain. And I still believe the toughest division by far at 155. Bobby Green. I don't even know where to start. Bobby Green you got to win over Al Iaquinta. Okay, Hasparat, right? Okay, but then Makhachev, you can't hold that against him, right? I mean, you can't. Drew Dober's just a brawler. And then the clash of heads with Jared Gordon. Everybody says, "Oh, Bobby Green stand up." Bobby Green, he finds all these angles. He's sharp on his feet. That's true. That is absolutely true. But so is Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson's at Jackson Wink now. And he's always had that awkward style. He's always been awkward where he'll circle out and he'll throw a weird angle elbow, which can still happen. He's going to look crisp, and he's also a great wrestler. So I could even see him taking down Bobby Green and finishing it with elbows or finishing it with a sub. I am not going to be surprised if either one of those happens. And to disrespect Tony by having him plus three something in a fight against a guy who's 29-14,
Right.
right? Who's Bobby Green's best win?
Let's go find it. We can do that right now. His
I mean,
best win. It's
it's not. Do you remember the run that Tony went on, tearing everybody apart
yeah.
to
I
get
mean,
to try and fight Habib? How many? 5 times? I mean, you got to be kidding me. Whereas you have. I mean,
it's got to be Eric Koch, Clay Guida.
Clay Guida. Are we really talking
Yeah.
about Clay Guida?
yeah, it's got to be, and it's not even good Clay Guida. It's like 2020 Clay Guida. Eric Koch was not bad. Clay Guida,
His
maybe
best win,
Ally
honestly,
Quinta.
no. His best win by far is 2014 against Josh Thompson. That has to be
yeah,
his best.
yeah. I
That's
mean, that's probably right. Yeah. This is the guy that head kicked Nate Diaz. Yeah, he's the one guy to knock out Nate Diaz.
yeah, yeah. Josh the Punk Thompson is a fantastic fighter, right? So that's from 2014. Um, he's flashy. He had some nice finishes, um, and he got a spot. He's not on the main card because he is a world beater. He's on the main card because of Tony Ferguson. And if you look at Tony Ferguson, who's Tony's last win? Tony's last win was Cowboy, right? And
Yep.
that was in 2019. That was a long time. But then he also had um, a couple cancellations with Khabib and then Gaethje. But before that, Cerrone, Pettis, Kevin Lee, RDA, uh, Venata, which doesn't, but Barbosa, Josh Thompson, Gleason Tebow. I mean, I don't have to rattle off Tony's wins. Everybody knows who they are. But if you take those wins and compare them apples to apples, there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Um, and even the losses. I mean, a decision to Dariush, who put it on him. A decision to Oliveira, who I don't know how Tony's left with his arm that night. Um,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Diaz with the guillotine. I get it. Like I said, that felt like a sparring match. Chandler with the front kick, which is, you get caught, and then Justin Gaethje, um, pretty much going all 5 rounds in a war. That fight changed Tony. Unfortunately, it was for the worst. Um, but the competition is so different. It's not even close. And I was watching. They did the face-offs today. We're recording this on Thursday. Um, they did. You know how they have the media day and the interviews and all that stuff. They did those face-offs, and there's no expression. He's there to get a job done. He knows he needs to get the job done because he's gonna be in deep shit, and they know Tony sells. They have to get him a win, and Bobby Green is more than willing to take a fight and try and make a name for himself. Unfortunately, I do not think that's gonna happen. Even with the skid that Tony is on and the damage that he's taken, he does look much, much better as of late than he did immediately after the Gaethje fight. Once he went to Jackson Wink, I think it was better for him. I think he did take the Chandler fight too soon. Um, after joining the gym, but not we could do about that now. He has the time with the new gym, and I think he's gonna put on a nice little show here, and I think he'll get the finish.
I agree, and I also like he has a 5.5 inch reach advantage, which really helps. And also, we're forgetting Tony. A lot of Tony's wins were submissions. I feel like he's got that opening here. He just has way more paths to victory here. Bobby Green, I mean, I like Bobby Green if he can knock out Tony. That's probably the one way I like Bobby Green. By decision, it's tough because Bobby Green has never really had great decision wins. Um, Tony, he's had decision wins, he has submissions, and he has knockouts. So I think he has all of the ways to win here, and I feel like this line is gonna look real fucking silly come Saturday night when we see this fight.
I think so too. And also, not for nothing, Justin Gaethje was beating on him. He didn't get knocked out by Justin Gaethje. That got stopped.
Yeah, the ref stopped it
That
when he
was
shook his
that
head.
was stopped because he was trying to clear out the cobwebs and everything, all the bells and everything else that was going off in his head.
Yep.
He was stopped by Michael Chandler with that head kick. And like I said before, that would knock anybody into tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Bobby Green doesn't know what he's got on his hands right now. And I still, for the love of God, do not understand how he is such a favorite in this matchup.
I mean, we might be extremely wrong, and Bobby Green might end up looking crazy good, but I don't see it here. I'm really
Yeah,
just
but then
not
it, but
seeing
then it,
this.
but then it comes down to, did Bobby Green look really, really good, or is Tony 100% finished? It's
Yeah,
never going to be Bobby. Okay, 3 years ago, this would not be the odds they are now. Tony's taking a lot of damage, but it's almost like riding a bike. You can't, you know, you don't forget uh, how to win when the competition isn't as steep. So
I agree, man. He just has all the advantages, in my opinion. He's just got everything.
yeah,
All right, let me move on here. We got Steven Thompson, Wonder Boy versus Michelle Pereira. This one's going to be quick and easy for me. I'm a big Wonder Boy fan. He's one of my favorite fighters, probably one of my favorite fighters of all time. He is 40 years old, which sucks to see. But he's coming off of an absolute masterclass over Kevin Holland. And I think the big thing here is going to be Michelle Pereira, I don't think has good cardio. And this is going to be at elevation. And for that reason, I kept myself off the Stephen Thompson money line just because I'm a big fan. And I don't like betting on people that I'm a huge fan of. Usually I just get a little biased and put some money on. But to me, that minus 145 does look real good on Stephen Thompson. But I took Stephen Thompson round three at, I think it was plus 1,600 because I think Pereira, his cardio is probably going to fail him here. And I think Thompson's got better cardio. And I also think, Michelle Pereira is not going to have a lot of wrestling success here. And people who don't wrestle Wonderboy don't beat Wonderboy. That's pretty simple. The only person, I will say, the only person is Tyrone Woodley. He beat Wonderboy. He knocked him down on the feet. But outside of that, if you do not grapple Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he is going to put some punches and some kicks on your face. And I think he's going to get Michelle Pereira tired. And I think he's going to finish him in the third. So I have my money where my mouth is, plus 1,600, Stephen Thompson, round three.
um, yeah, I think on this one you you have to go with the smarter fighter. I think Wonder Boy is a point fighter. He knows how to win fights. Um, when it's just straight. straight stand up. As we saw with Kevin Holland, completely obliterated him. Also, Pereira, he could do some stupid shit. He could do some wild, crazy stuff, and if he does do that, he has been good as of late. His last couple fights, um, he's been pretty good about it. But if he does any of that silly, wild, weird shit, he's gonna get clipped. Um, and Wonder Boy will just wear you down. I agree with you on this one. I would take Wonder Boy. I don't know if he'd finish him, but I would take Wonder Boy by decision. This was a pretty easy one for me.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Pereira is only 29 years old.
I know the dude has like 40 fights. It's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
He
He's got
looks
more than Wonder Boy.
Yeah, he looks older than 29 as well. And I've been a Pereira fan. I had money on him against Ponzinibbio, against Fialho, against Nico Price, and against Chaos Williams. I had money on him in all those fights, and he's paid well. So that was pretty slick. Let's see here.
All
Ooh.
right, I'm gonna you bring us into this next one, and I'm gonna refill a little bit of coffee
All
because
right.
this this is my fight of the night.
Yeah. So Tim is probably going to pop a blood vessel when he talks about this one, but I'll lead us off here. So we got Jan Blachowicz, who is 40 years of age. He is 29-9 versus Alex Potan Bahera, 7-2 in MMA. He's coming off of that loss against Adesanya at 185 for the belt. Pereira was holding the belt, and then he lost it via KO, and he is 36 years of age. For me here, guys, my only concern, and I will say my only concern, is this 3-month layoff after that big knockout. He did get flatlined by Adesanya, and it was big, and it was, hefty. He was out for a hot second there. He was unconscious. He was, it was a one-punch knockout. No follow-up shots really needed. That's my concern here. Is Jan Blachowicz lands one and Pereira's chin has not fully recovered from that knockout. That is my only concern. Outside of the chin issue that we might have, I think Alex Pereira kills Jan Blachowicz 9 out of 10 times. And I think this line is so fucking off that it's unbelievable. I bet it at plus 130 a couple weeks ago. I sent Tim the ticket when I did that. And now it's evens. Now it's minus 110, minus 110. Both sides are the odds. And I think Pereira, he's training with Glover Teixeira, who, if you're gonna train with anybody to be able to stand up to the grappling of Jan Blachowicz, who he's got okay grappling. Mostly he just had a size advantage over Adesanya, but he has okay grappling. I think Glover Teixeira is the perfect guy to train with. I think he's going to be able to fend off the takedowns, and I think when it's on the feet, he is going to butcher Jan Blachowicz. And I think we're going to go for me here. I think it's going to be a flying knee. Crazy prediction here, but I think he's going to get his second flying knee knockout, which I think that would be the most. I don't think anyone else has 2 flying knee knockouts, but I think Pereira is going to get a flying knee knockout. I don't know why. I'm just getting the gut feeling. It could be the left hook. It could be a flying knee. Who knows? But I think, honestly, Pereira should be minus 180 here. Blachowicz is almost 41 years old. He is, coming off of that kind of weird fight with Magomed Ankalaev. Before that, he beat Alexander Rakic by a leg injury, which really wasn't a win. Before that, who was it? Oh, it was Alex Pereira's main training partner, Big Glover. So I'm taking Pereira. I think Glover's got the blueprint. I think he gave it to Pereira. I think he's gonna tell Pereira what to expect, and I think Pereira's grappling is gonna be up to par here. My only concern is that chin. Only 3 months off of the big knockout by Adesanya, but going up a weight class should help that chin. a decent amount, a substantial amount actually. So I mean, this is my biggest bet of 2023 was Alex Pereira plus 130, and then I added some more this week. I think it was like plus 110, something like that. I'm very very heavy on Pereira. I think I said last week I put the entire rest of my DraftKings. I had to deposit a little bit of money into my DraftKings so I could have some other plays this week because I'm so confident in Pereira knocking this Jan Blachowicz out. And Blachowicz, he's been an underrated fighter his entire career, but not here. This one is not going to be the one where he starts to make that climb back towards the title. Nah, he's 40. It's Pereira's time, and I think Pereira has taken this one. And I think it's going to, honestly, be quick. I think it could be first round. I think it could be early second round, but I think it's probably an under 1.5. Pereira's gonna land a big one, and he's gonna just pounce on his prey, and I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one for Tim. Tim's gonna be happy.
I hope so. This fight is interesting. Full disclosure, I am a homer for Alex Poetan Pereira, hometown guy. So I am biased. But with that being said, I also have concerns. Do I think he can starch Jan? I do. Do I think Jan can shut his lights off? 100%. Do I think Jan can take him down? I'm not sure. I think the easiest path to victory would be for Jan to take him down. But you got to remember, he's probably going to be around 230, I got to say, for this fight. And he's got the height advantage, and he looks massive. So I don't know how easy it's going to be for Jan to take Alex down. When it comes to the feet, Alex has the advantage. I think everybody agrees with that. My only concern is Alex leaves his hands down, and that got him in trouble his last fight with Izzy. Obviously, we all know how that ended. I agree with you. I think this is going to be quick. I don't think Jan wants this to go down to the ground. I think he wants to show that Polish power off. His win against Alexander Rakic was fugazi, right? That was you can't say a win is a win. I get it. I just said the same thing against Curtis Blades and Tom Aspinall. A win is a win. But Rakic, I think, would have given him a lot of problems. And body type, Rakic and Pereira, I would say, are pretty similar. I think the left is going to be too much. I think the left is going to be too much for Blachowicz. And watching the weigh-ins again, not the weigh-ins, but the first set of face-offs today, I think Jan Blachowicz realized, oh shit, he's bigger than I anticipated, and this could be a problem.
Yep.
And I think the chin of Alex is fine. He's been knocked out a bunch of times, and he seems to rebound. This weight is going to make a huge difference. It's going to make a huge difference. He's so conditioned to taking shots from just being in glory and being the double champ there. I don't think it's going to be a problem with going off of such short turnaround. He's going to have to stay on the feet. Like you said, he's training at Teixeira, so heavy on the grappling. They brought Dylan Dennis there to work on some of the ground stuff. So as much as everybody hates Dylan Dennis, the guy knows his shit. I just don't know who they brought in to replicate Jan, or if it was just him sparring with Glover. Uh, I'm all over Alex though. With that being said, I got Alex by decision at plus 650 because you got to remember this is only a 3 round fight.
Yeah.
Jan is durable. He went 5 rounds with Ankalaev. Um, when he lost to Glover, that was quick. He got you got to remember, Alex was training with Glover when they fought. When
Mm-hmm.
Alex won the title, he was already training stand up with Alex. So that right there tells you, you know damn well Alex was watching the tape on Jan and saying, when he does this, you do this, you could clip him. I think this is a lock. I think Izzy told him what he experienced with him, and I think as much as everybody thinks all the stuff with him and Izzy, all that is beef, and they want to fight again. These guys don't even care. They're done. They're professionals. If they
Mm-hmm.
fight, if their paths cross, they fight again. They fight again. Izzy caught him. Alex is a much bigger person than Izzy, and I think he could put his lights out. And I'm on it, baby. I'm on it. I'm on it. Money line, like I said, I'm on it plus 650 decision, and I'm on it knockout. By Alex, he's gonna get one step closer, and they're gonna announce if Alex wins, he's gonna fight Yuri for the strap. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna
Oh
put
man.
I don't think they're going to put Jan in there, and that's why this hasn't been set as for the number one contender.
What a podcast that would be if my boy fights your boy. My goodness. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Everything you said was pretty top tier. I think the only thing with Jan would be I don't think he wants to grapple here. I think he wants to
He
test
doesn't.
himself.
He doesn't. He
Yeah.
doesn't. And the whole thing too is this is at elevation. I don't know when Jan got there. Alex has
Yeah.
been there. He's
And
acclimated.
and Jan too, like against Glover, he like gassed. Like he was like fucking like exhausted against Glover in the second round, was it? I think it was the second round. Um, and that was, I mean, that was crazy. And Pereira, I mean, he's had, 5 round events. He got a fifth round finish against Adesanya. You got to have some pretty decent cardio to get a fifth round finish in a title fight. So,
Yeah, he was down, and he was down at least at a minimum 3 rounds going into the fifth.
yep,
At least you could even say four, and he turned it on. They said, "You want to be a champ? This is what you got to do."
he did it. Yanked it out.
I, yeah, I'm curious to see the weigh-ins as always, but I think Alex is gonna come in at 230 come fight day, and I think he's gonna be a massive problem for this
Dude.
whole division.
I mean, I agree. I think if he's 230, dude, that would be for this whole division. I mean, that scares me for my boy Yuri. I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do against Pereira if Pereira is coming in at 230 with the technical ability. That's pretty.
You also got to remember too this. Um, Jan has some nice leg kicks. He was giving Ankalaev a lot of problems with the leg kicks,
But
right?
Alex checks.
Alex is a world class glory kickboxing two
That's
division
what I'm
champion.
saying, man. Is he's got the kicks covered too.
Yeah. So this line's been all over the place. All my bets on Alex, I've got him at plus money, and they keep swinging. So if Jan doesn't look good at weigh-ins, or Alex looks great, and then come Saturday when they rehydrate, when you see how big Alex is, I think it's gonna be crazy. I think the line's gonna swing. I think you can probably get both these guys at plus money
I'm just
at one point or another.
I'm crazy happy that I got that plus 130 bet on him a couple weeks ago. I'm fucking psyched because I
What
feel
is
like
it? What is it now?
minus 110, minus 110
Yeah,
current odds.
it's changed. It's been changing on Alex. Every day it's been changing.
It's crazy, man. I feel like it's been, yeah, like you said, flipping over and over and over. Bro, what is this
Yeah.
picture of Justin Gaethje? Are you seeing this on Topology? Bro, look at that. He's got a goatee. That's insane. Um, but yeah, we're to the main event here. This is the BMF, the baddest motherfucker title here, and I feel like for this one I got a little bit more of a deep analysis here. But we got Dustin Poirier coming off of that win over Michael Chandler, where he was taken to deep waters and then he gassed Chandler out. And then Charles Oliveira, where he took Oliveira to deep waters and then got submitted himself. A win over Connor, another win over Connor, and then a win over Dan Hooker. And we got Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev, who I cashed pretty heavy. I had Gaethje by decision, and it was like plus 600 and something, and I had a good cash there. A loss to Charles Oliveira, who like we talked, is a fucking world beater. A win over Michael Chandler, great win there. He actually beat Michael Chandler, I thought, worse than Dustin Poirier did. And then it was fight of the year as well. Lost to Khabib. I mean, who can you blame? Win over Tony Ferguson when Tony Ferguson was in his prime. That was prime Tony Ferguson, and he beat the shit out of Tony Ferguson. So for me, guys, this one is gonna be Justin Gaethje here for me, and the reasoning being I don't think Dustin Poirier has that dog in him anymore. And then the other points I had that were a little bit more technical when it comes to fighting is I really, really like Justin Gaethje's leg kicks here. And it's honestly the technique he uses here. He like shells up while he throws his leg kicks. And I noticed in Poirier's fights, he just doesn't react well to leg kicks. Like when Conor was leg kicking him, Poirier was not reacting well. And he was like taking step back. And that's been since he fought Justin Gaethje. And I think Gaethje's going to be able to capitalize on that. And the other thing I really had that I really, really liked was in this Fiziev fight, Gaethje was really landing the uppercut. And when I watched Dustin Poirier's fight against one Dan Hooker, who Dan Hooker took Poirier to fucking as far as Poirier can go. That was a great fight. What was Dan Hooker having the most success with? Uppercuts. And it was mostly backside uppercuts. And Justin Gaethje throws a lot of those backside. He doesn't throw as many front side, but he throws a lot of those backside uppercuts. What did Conor McGregor have a lot of success with? It wasn't as much uppercut as it was like kind of like a horizontal diagonal hook sort of a deal. It was like in between an uppercut and a hook, but he landed it multiple times on Poirier. And Gaethje, he has, these uppercuts he throws are fucking vicious, and they've gotten better, they've gotten tighter, and they've gotten more technical. On the Poirier side, I like his crisp combinations against Gaethje because Gaethje does have that tendency to shell up. So I think Poirier is going to have the ability, if he extends it to 4-5 punches, I think he's really going to have success there. But I also think, in that last fight, that was Fiziev's entire game plan, was to extend those combinations. And what did Gaethje do? He adjusted. Gaethje adjusted. He was kind of getting out of range. He was playing it a little bit safer than he usually has in the past. I think the combination of his leg kicks, which Poirier does not respond well to, the combination of that backside uppercut, which I feel like if I had to pick like some crazy outcome, I'd say Gaethje knocks Poirier out by that backside uppercut. I have that, as probably the thing that happens in my head is an uppercut, and then Poirier goes down. And then I really just do think that Gaethje, I think he's just improved leaps and bounds compared to Dustin Poirier. Paired with Poirier, I think he was in it for the money. He had his red panty night, and he's set for life. The guy can do whatever he wants. He can retire if he wants and be 100% fine. He's got a business on the side. He's got a little daughter at home. I mean, the guy can retire happy whenever he wants to. I don't think the willingness and the want to fight is there anymore. And I think Gaethje has some more bangers in him. I think Gaethje wants another shot at that title, and I think he's more hungry in this situation. And I think it's really gonna have to be Gaethje needs to avoid those 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, and Gaethje needs to uppercut and land those leg kicks. And I think he's gonna be successful here. And you can get him at, I think it's plus 130 right now. So I'm on the Gaethje side here, and honestly, I'm pretty psyched about it. I think Gaethje probably takes him out inside the distance, but I think it is going to go 2, 3 rounds. I think it'll go into the third at the least. And Gaethje, the other thing he does have to his advantage is that elevation. He does train in Colorado, and Dustin Poirier trains in Coconut Creek, Florida, which, if you were not aware, is not any elevation. So Gaethje it is for me, and it's because of those technical reasons.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I think the path for Poirier to win is gonna be submission. He's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu, but he's one of these guys that they fall in love with their power. And he's a stand-up guy now. Both these guys are stand-up guys now. Granted, he just beat Michael Chandler, right, with a rear naked, but before that, to go to a submission from Poirier, you got to go to 2012. So it's been a while. I think that's his path to victory. But to get there is going to be a huge problem, I believe. After the physique fight with Gaethje, it was a different Gaethje. He even stated after the fight that he wants to make a run. He's only got a couple left in him, and he wants to make another run. I've never seen him fight that smart before. The leg kicks are devastating. I think he's been working more on his wrestling and the takedown defense. I think that should pose a problem for Dustin. I think Gaethje can get the stoppage. I really do. I agree with you. With Poirier, he's got the money. He's got the hot sauce thing going, and it's hard trying to wake up with that hunger. I forget who said it. Maybe it was Marvin Hagler. When you're waking up in satin sheets every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Gaethje wants it more. Gaethje wants that run. He believes he could do it. Like I said, the last fight with Fiziev, completely different fighter. He wasn't going out there doing all kinds of crazy stuff and just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna throw. He did not do that. He was calculated. And when you take his power and you combine that with how smart he was fighting and how accurate he was and his setups, that's crazy. I couldn't believe he didn't get him out of there, to be honest with you. He was hitting him with shots.
Mm-hmm.
That also that was 3 round, right? That
Yep.
wasn't, or that was 3 round fight. This is 5 rounds. And Justin Gaethje in Colorado can do the 5 rounds. And if he is smart and not throwing wild haymakers and controlling his energy, it could be a rough day at the office for Poirier.
100% agree.
And I get it. Michael Chandler is a fun, exciting fighter. He's also not the smartest fighter in the world, right? So you take that with whatever you want to look at it, but that's not that impressive to me getting that sub. Oliveira champ, got it. I understand, right? That's a loss. You take those. Connor, it breaks my heart. It really does. I'm a Connor homer as well. Is Connor washed? Is Connor cooked? The first fight, he took a lot of time off, and Poirier put it on him. Second fight, Connor, we had the break. But what Connor are we talking about? We saw what happened when he fought up and coming Connor.
Yeah.
Dan Hooker, I think the Dan Hooker, that was also, you can't even say the decline, but Dan Hooker he's not a world beater either. He's trying to make a resurgence and everything like that, but I'm not impressed with Poirier, to be 100% honest. It's very commendable. Um, he went with the two money fights over Connor. Nobody was calling Connor out when he was on the run. So let's all just get that out of the way. But then you have Gaethje taking Fiziev, taking that fight, taking the Oliveira fight, Chandler, which was, I already spoke about Chandler with Dustin, but then the Khabib fight, and then the Tony Ferguson fight. He's taking hammers, man. He's taking hammers, and he's changing careers. He altered Tony Ferguson's career. Um, he also retired Khabib, not for nothing. He
Yeah.
made the guy retire. He was that scared for a rematch. And then, he fought stupid against Oliveira. It is what it is with that loss. Um, he's not fighting that way anymore. He's fighting controlled, calculated, and with a lot of power. And I'm gonna put it on Gaethje by KO.
I like that a lot. He's also got the size advantage too. If you watch, I mean, we both watched the face off. He had a little bit of a little bit advantage at height. I just really like Gaethje here because Poirier doesn't feel like he's as motivated as he used to be, um, and I think Gaethje's gonna catch him. I really do. I think Gaethje's gonna catch Poirier. I think Pereira's gonna catch Jan. I think Wonder Boy is catching Pereira. I think Tony Ferguson is catching Bobby Green. I don't think Chiesa is catching Kevin Holland. I think he's gonna lay on him. I think he's gonna sit on him. Um, but yeah, a lot of potential for finishes on this card. Like honestly, this is the type of card where every single fight could finish. Like it honestly could be that card.
Oh man, we're gonna have to let's throw a minimum bet on it. Let's throw a minimum bet at least on the main card.
Every
On the
single
main,
let's I'm gonna look up. Let me just do this quick before we close this podcast up and see if we put every single fight, it just does not go the distance. It doesn't even have to be who we pick, just does not go the distance. Oh man, this is gonna be this is gonna be pretty hefty. So that one does not go the distance. Fight prop does not go the distance. Wow, this is already adding.
I mean, you got two fights that are under 155.
Yeah,
And one of there's only one. Wow, wow. There's the only female fight. I can't believe that. There's only one female fight on this card.
yeah, dude. The only fight that I'm really would be worried about is that Vergara Salvador
Yeah,
fight. Like that one
yeah.
feels,
I would leave off the 125ers, to be honest with you.
yeah. I mean, dude, I'm going through the odds right now, and all of these are favored to finish. Like they're all like minus 250. I didn't realize we were in that range here. But all of these are super super favored. I don't think we're gonna get a good parlay here. I'm already 8 legs in, and it's only plus 900.
Ah,
Yeah. I was thinking it was going to be much better pricing on that, but it really was not that good of pricing. All right. Well, Tim, the rubber meets the road. It's going to be Alex Pereira fight night on Saturday night. Um,
yep.
Gaethje Pereira. I'm excited. It's going to be a great card.
I'm excited too. I'm gonna have to make sure I get this shirt in the wash tomorrow morning, so it's ready to rock for Saturday.
You're going to have to wear some extra deodorant on Saturday.
I'm gonna have to eat that and get my Brazilian barbecue, my Minas Carne,
Oh,
and
yeah.
have myself a day. It's gonna be a great night of fights, and then I'm gonna have to record the Spence Crawford fight as well.
I
So
heard that fight is going to
great.
happen during the Wonder Boy fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll record it. I'm not too worried about it. I'll watch it after the fact. I'm not missing any bit of this UFC card.
Same. Same here. I'm going to be here for every single minute.
Oh yeah,
All right.
Utah,
Thanks, everyone,
U91.
for listening.